You're listening to the City of Palms podcast. This is a weekly show where two brothers sit down to discuss Southwest Florida and our hometown specifically because, let's face it, there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of awesome athletes, musicians, artists, everything in between, local businesses, and we want this podcast to sort of shed light on some of that stuff because this is a really cool place to live, and I kind of feel like we took that for granted growing up here, but this area of Florida is really a really great place to live and a really great place to be an entertainer, and we want to make that even more so. So with the skateboarding community and the music community and the art community and all of that, we're just trying to get guests in here because everyone has a story to tell and everyone has something to say. And this week we sat down with Kacey Parks, and we know him through his Kava Culture events that he does every Thursday in Bonita Springs, but he is a performer himself. He's a very intelligent guy from the conversation we had with him, and it was really cool to get him in the studio here. Here we go. This is the interview with Kacey Parks. I hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back to the City of Palms podcast, everybody. This is episode 9 today. This has been a long-awaited guest. We've got Kacey Parks here with us.
What's up?
How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Yeah, I feel that. Kacey, he's one of the first people that I reached out to whenever me and Danny were first rolling around the idea for this podcast. So it's really cool to get him on here finally. And I know Kacey because he runs Kava Thursday events every week in Bonita Springs. And right when I moved back from Pennsylvania, I started really doing my art a lot more. And one of my friends hit me up and told me about these events in Bonita. And he said, hey, you should try to come down. And they have art vendors and stuff. Just here you can contact this girl, Darby. And then I went there, didn't know anybody. And I just sort of set up. And I was kind of intimidated because I had never done anything like that. But you got a really cool vibe going at Kava Thursdays. When did you start that?
Oh, shit. It's about a year now, I think. Would have been last July maybe, or June I think was the first one, so it's about a year almost. I don't know, it was it kind of moved. So it was at South Street. It was an open mic that I didn't run. It was right when I moved down here. I started going to this open mic, and that just ended out of nowhere. And then the hippie circle, if you know who they are from down here, they picked it up and brought it to Kava on Sundays, and they did that for about 6 months, and then they just disappeared out of nowhere for a little while, and we just had nowhere to play. So I was like, well, fuck, I'll do it. And then it was fun, so we kept doing it, and it's gone really well. So I don't know if I'll do it forever, but if I do leave it, I'll make sure it's set up so someone can continue it, kind of thing, so there's not some big gap. Because, where we live, there's nowhere to play and show your art. Yeah,
and it seems like there's a whole bunch of people that I've met that go every single week that seem super loyal, just really down-to-earth people that just gather to, hang out and perform and show their art and stuff. Are a lot of those people, have they been there since the beginning?
Yes and no. It comes in waves, right? So we'll have 3 straight weeks where there's 150 people out there, and then we'll have a week where there's 30 people or 50 people, and then we'll get and it's basically unpredictable. And then you get your old regulars that you get your every week people, which is maybe 10 to 15 people, and then you've got your at least once a month people who they might disappear for a while, but they've been coming since the first week, and then you've got new regulars, so they've been coming a couple months, or brand new people and they brought some new friends. So it's just it's all really cyclical. And people fall in and out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Danny, feel free to grab this anytime you want to say anything. Are you from Florida?
No, I'm from Kansas.
Oh, so you moved here recently?
2013.
Huh.
So 6 years almost. It'll be 6 years in August.
Did you what brought you down here?
I was the youngest in the family, and my mom, my grandpa bought a place in Naples in the 60s. So the whole family's been coming down here since then. And so I was the youngest when I graduated. They're you can stay or you can come with us, but we're moving to Florida, so you can come if you want. And I was I'll try it out. It's nice weather. It's Florida, beaches. I fucking hate the beach. It's too damn hot. I'm weird. I miss fields and snow.
Yeah, see, I lived in Pennsylvania for a couple years, but I grew up here, so I kind of feel I took the beaches and the good weather and all that for granted because I just grew up with it. And then living up there, I love the snow, love the mountains, love all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But while I was there, having no beaches at all or all this terrible weather throughout the year, I'm just man, can't wait to be back in Florida. Did you go to school here?
No, I went to college in Orlando for a year and a half, and I went to Edison State, which is what is it, FSW now?
Yeah.
I went to Edison State for a semester before I went to Full Sail, and then moved back here. And
go back to school. What'd you go to school for?
Film.
Nice.
Yeah. It was fun. I didn't finish, though. I ran out of money. It's just expensive.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm in the same boat.
Where'd you go?
FGCU.
FGCU.
Yeah, I was going for English education, and I stopped because I moved to Pennsylvania, but now I'm in the point where I'm not going back because I want to pay off my loan first.
That's how, like, I owe money. My mom's like, when do you go back? It's like, when I pay off the 10 grand I owe for the degree I don't have.
For real. Yeah, dude, and the only reason that I have debt, I just wish they could, like, fix the school system, bro, because, like, I did so great throughout school. I had scholarships, grants, stuff like that, and the only reason I owe money is because I lived in a dorm for 1 year. 2 semesters I lived in a dorm, and I owe, like, a big chunk of money because of that. Imagine if I would have stayed for, like, my whole length of college in a dorm, I'd be fucked.
Dude, I don't know how people do it. Like, my girl, she's getting money back to go to college. She's gonna make $3 grand going to college this year.
What?
Yeah, like, because she's a Florida resident, she goes to FGCU. She's got it set up with grant. Like, she's smart, so she's got grants and shit. But some of those grants, like, it's not like this is for school. It's for school, but they just give you like a $10,000 check.
Yeah.
Pays for whatever you need, and then whatever's left is yours. Because, like, they factor it into, like, housing and food and stuff like that. So, like, she's just gonna make $3 grand going to school this year. And I'm out here with 10 grand in debt and no degree.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I had it kind of set up because I was Florida resident. I had, like, Bright Future Scholarship out of high school, and I got good grades. So there were certain, as I went to FGCU, there were certain organizations that, like, gave me grants and gave me scholarships to keep doing it. And there were a couple semesters I got some money back, but nothing crazy.
Interesting. All right, well, I just completely changed it. I was curious with the shred grip stuff. Is most of your business down here? Is most of your business online? Like, are you doing better out of Florida than you are, like, are you getting custom orders a lot? Like, I would figure that would be your biggest market, right?
Well, I would say it is, like, just because of the people I know around here that dig what I do, like skateboarders from this community, that's probably where I make the most, just because they'll, like, throw me $10 for a grip, throw me $15 for a grip. But I do, a lot of my revenue is from my Etsy shop.
Yeah,
so, like,
I figured because, like, you're like looking for that crossover market of, like, the anime shit and skating, and, like, some people might really fuck with anime but they don't skate, or they skate but they don't fuck with anime at all. So, like, you have, like, a weird niche market you're trying to, like. Definitely.
That's why it's kind of hard at your Kava events sometimes, because there's people who really dig the designs, but they're like, oh, I don't skate though, so I don't really want grip. That's why I've started to do more canvas stuff.
Oh, dude, what you could do would be really dope. I don't know what the cost is, but, like, you could start gripping, like, just a piece of plywood and, like, make a whole frame, like, make, like, an actual piece, make it into canvas, but keep using grip, and, like, just make a square piece of, like, skateboard material. I don't know what skateboards made of. I don't skate. Like, I've been on a board twice and I hurt myself both times. But you could, like, do big square pieces, like canvases, but just do it out of grip tape. That'd be really dope.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I've been inspired to, like, branch out and do stuff. Like, I see in, like, hanging up, and recently I did, like, I put 3 skateboards together and then, like, painted the skateboards to make it, like, one big, like, canvas piece. I've been trying to just branch out and do stuff like that, because there are a lot of people that are hyped on what I do, but they don't skate, so they don't want grip tape. And then it's also kind of hard being grip tape and being that it's going on a skateboard that's gonna eventually break, you know, sooner or later. People aren't really wanting to pay a whole lot of money, so, like, these designs that take a long time or a while to paint, it's hard for me to charge someone like $50 because I wouldn't pay that for grip tape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it depends on what the design is. You know what I mean? And who's buying it? Like, if you got the money to buy it, you'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll spend $50 on that. But, like, you're selling to other broke artists and other broke skaters. So it's like, well, I mean,
for real, yeah.
That's what I always tell vendors at Kava, like, bring your big expensive stuff, but you're not going to sell it. Like, someone might contact you to get it 3 weeks from now, and hey, get the cash together. Make sure you have something that's like $10 because you're not going to make any money if you have everything for 50 and above. Yeah,
that's kind of how I see it. Anytime I go, like, I'm not super bummed because I was surprised the first week I ever went. I don't know if it was just because no one had seen me before, but, like, I sold quite a bit, and I was like, dang, is this what these events are like? But since then, I, like, don't really sell very much, but I don't let it discourage me just because I see it as, like, people are looking at my stuff and like, whoa, that's awesome. I'm like, cool. That's why I do it. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make money.
And it's cyclical. When new people come in, then you get a new wave of, like, pickup. So, like, Molly, like, you know Molly.
Yeah.
She'll make, like, $150 one week, and then, like, she'll do that for, like, 3 weeks with new people coming in, and then, like, the same people are showing up, so you're not going to buy stuff a bunch of times from the same person, so she'll, like, make $20 for, like, 3 weeks, and then a new wave of people will come in, and she'll make $150 again. Yeah. So it's just, like, it's a cycle of stuff. It's weird. But, I don't know, there's some, like, cool shit you could do with what you do. Like, does grip tape stick to any wood? Like, is it super easy to?
Yeah, it's just like a sticker. You peel the back and then you just pop it on a skateboard.
Like, start making, like, small little ones, like little tiny, like little squares. Like,
I actually on that refrigerator, a lot of those are actually grip tape.
That's what I mean. Like, you just start doing those. Like, they don't have to be skateboards. You'll make a bunch of money doing that.
Yeah, and see,
like little tiny ones.
I think you actually told me because I have these little, like, rupees from Legends of Zelda that are grip tape and they're just little stickers, and I would give them away for free to anyone who, like, buys stuff. and you were like, bro, sell those $5 a piece.
Why are you not monetized? That made me so mad. I was like, why are you giving these away for free? This is the easiest thing you have to sell. Because there's no like skater requirement there. Like you just have to fuck with Zelda. And like our generation, anyone between the age of like 15 and like 30 that's remotely nerdy in any way at all, like 1% loves Zelda because Zelda's just like that good. You don't have to be a huge nerd to love Zelda.
Yeah, it's
like that's a mainstream appeal nerd. Mm-hmm. And like just make a bunch of fucking rupees. Like you'll sell a bunch of those. Like
for sure. And everyone loves stickers.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got to stick them on their Yeti cup.
For real.
My laptop and my Yeti cup is just covered in stickers. That's all.
Same, dude. Same.
Oh god.
All right, but let's switch it up a little bit. I definitely want to talk about music because like, you're someone who, like, knowing you, like you run Kava events and stuff. You do a lot of cool stuff, but I feel like you're still like you haven't released a whole lot of music. But I know you're very, very talented just from just the Kava events. Like you go, because that was the one thing. Kevin Ortega was the person who told me about Kava.
Kevin Ortega.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the one that told me about Kava, and he was like, "Oh yeah, man, yeah, Kacey runs it, and he's really good at freestyling." And I was like, "Okay." So I like looked out for that, and a handful of performers really stuck out to me. That's what made me want to keep going because you guys are all so cool. But then like you'll spend the last hour of the event just like freestyling on a beat, and it's sick, dude. Especially because me and Danny have liked hip hop for a while, and like we're not rappers or anything, but like it's so much fun to just like pop on a beat and like see if you can like rhyme to it or whatever. But people don't realize how difficult that shit is.
I don't think it's that hard. Like
I was gonna ask you how.
For me, rapping is very different from other forms of music because it's the only one that can be like a sport, right? So I try to describe hip hop like this to people all the time. Any person with two legs that can walk can become a decent pickup basketball player. If you work hard, like if you actually practice, like any person alive, you don't have to be super athletic. As long as you practice, you can become a decent pickup basketball player, right? So think of hip hop that way. Like if you work hard at it all, just like a hobby, like anybody can rap on a street corner, like and be decent, right? And then there's that next step where it's like, all right, you got like JUCO ball or like D3 basketball, and then you get up to D1, but like only like 1% of D1 players go to the pro, and then like a bunch of those pro dudes, there's like 250 guys in the league, 200 of them like are not great compared to the other 50, and the other 50 are just like out. Like you're getting paid to do it if you're those 200, but you're not Kevin Durant, you're not Kawhi Leonard, you're just like a bench dude. And that's 200 people in the NBA that are like, there's a huge gap between people who get paid to do that and then like Kevin Durant, right? And hip hop's the same way. Like there's a bunch of people making a living doing it, and they're good enough to do that, but there's only like 10 Kendricks, right? There's only like 10 people who like get remembered forever, even though you spent your career getting paid doing it. But nobody's going to remember you. And that's how hip-hop is. Like, it is a skill set that is learnable. If you're terrible, you can become good. If you're good, you can become really good. If you're really good, there's a chance you can become great, but there's intangibles there. But, like, with singing, you can either sing it, you can't. Like, there's no...
Yeah.
There is no, like, well, if you work hard, like, if you can't sing, you can't sing. Like, you can get a little better, but there's no big jumps.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to become Adele overnight. Like that's just not going to happen no matter how hard I work. Like you just can't get there. Mm-hmm. But hip hop, that's not the case. Like you can become good enough to do something with it if you just work hard.
Yeah.
Just practice. It's a developable skill set. At least I think so.
Yeah, I like that too, how you compare it to basketball. That's sick.
Yeah, because like hip hop comes in weird. Hip hop's weird, man. Like there's like three kinds of it. There's like the entertainment side of it, there's the art side of it, and then there's like the sports side of it. And the sports side of it, like there's a bunch of rappers that like I love that you probably never heard of because they're not making that great of music. They're just really good rappers. And like that's a different thing. Like rapping and making hip hop music are super different things. Like there's a bunch of really, really, really dope rappers that cannot make a song to save their goddamn life. They're terrible. Their music is awful. You could not get through their album, but you will listen to them freestyle all fucking day. So they're just separate things. At least I think so.
Huh.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, dude, for real.
I don't know. I don't know if you know who Locksmith is, or like Mad Squabbles, or I don't know. Like, there's like a bunch of like underground shit that's like, yeah, you can rap, but like, then you hear their album, you're like, oh, this is awful. Like, how are you this good at the other thing, and not? You can't make a good song, and then you have people like Kendrick who can bury them on their like territory of like the sports side of it, but make like beautiful, amazing art on top of that. They can do both of it, and then you have like the futures of the world who are just they're not here to make art. They're not here for the sport of it. They're out here to like entertain you.
Yeah.
And like that's a different, and that's
the
okay.
6ix9ines of the fucking world.
Oh no! Future and 6ix9ine are very different things. 6ix9ine can go to hell. Future, I really least respect what he's doing, even though he can rap better than he does.
Right.
I feel like he's wasting his time a little bit. But here's the thing with like 6ix9ines or Smoke Perps or like Lil Yachty's or whatever. Like, it's not their fault you're paying them. Like, go for you. Go get your money.
Right.
It's idiot fans and idiot DJs that like are polluting the waters of hip hop with all this garbage music. I don't even care if like it exists. Just call it something different. Like,
Yeah.
Smoke Perp is not J. Cole, and they're different genres. Like rock and roll music's got like 90 genres under the umbrella. Like, you wouldn't compare Metallica to Gus Dapperton, but they're both technically rock music. But like, no one would ever say they're the same genre.
Yeah.
Why are 6ix9ine and Kendrick the same genre? That makes
Right.
no fucking sense.
Yeah,
They're different things.
For real.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But it's just rap music. Like, it's just there's no categories. It's weird. I don't understand it. Like, hip hop's like, it's the biggest genre in the world now, but it's still super misunderstood, I think, by like the majority of society. I don't know. It's just like an odd genre. Like, it doesn't fit norms.
So let me ask you just a random question. Who is someone, not to like name drop, but who's someone who you think is way overrated in that whole world?
Way overrated, like.
You could drop names, but
Oh yeah,
at least
I mean,
one.
we can get real nerdy into rap here, but like, okay, so like,
People who are held on this huge pedestal, because I've heard names, people say like, oh, he's way overrated, but it's because they don't understand why he's held at this pedestal.
yeah, like, okay, so this is a good example. So Drake, I get really mad at Drake, and people think I don't like Drake. I love Drake, but I get mad at Drake because I grew up on So Far Gone. That was like part of the reason I make hip hop, was that album So Far Gone, and he is like devolved since then. His music hasn't progressed any. Like, he hasn't. I expected him to get better at that, and he just went I'm gonna make decent music for all the money in the world for mass appeal, instead of like pushing himself a little bit. And you get gems here and there of him being like, oh, that's what he could have been. But like, I get really, really mad at Drake because it's wasted talent, right? I don't get mad at Smoke Perp because that's all he can do. So like, good for him. Go get your money. Like, as long as you know what you are and you're not like. The whole like fuck J. Cole movement pissed me off, but they were just trolling. Like, they're just trolls. Like, they're just, this generation is like, we're gonna, what's the Odd Future line? Like, fuck shit or fuck school, burn shit. Like,
Yeah,
like, it's just
people
like
burn shit,
break. Yeah, it's just like break everything. So like, that's what Smoke Perp and Lil Pump and everything are. But like, they're not. They're overrated in the sense like they get overplayed and like their shows sell out. But like, it's not their fault. But like, underrated stuff that's my bigger issue. It's like people like Tobe and Wigway.
I bet you have a list.
Like, the underrated stuff, I don't care about the overrated stuff that much, because like, if the market, like, I love capitalism shit. If the market's gonna pay you, like, go get your money. But it's the underrated stuff that like we need to change how we talk about music a little bit. Mm-hmm. That there's so much crazy, awesome music. Like, even locally here, there's a bunch of amazing shit that like doesn't get as much play locally as the local stuff, because it's the more mainstream genre stuff. Luckily, the people who've came out of Southwest Florida, like recently, like, all super high quality. Fike's really dope. Yeek's really dope. Like, who's the other kid? Traveler's out of here now. Like, they're all three of them are like solid musicians. So like, we don't have to worry about that down here. But like, it was like all the Florida people that are super famous now, like Kodak Black and Ski Mask and Smoke Perp and Lil Pump. The only one of those dudes who can rap is Ski Mask. It's the only one. And Puya. Like, nobody else can actually rap. None of them. It's weird.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get that.
But then Ski will get compared to like Smoke Perp, and they're like different things. Like, Ski can legitimately rap. Smoke Perp.
True that. Have you ever heard of Raider Clan?
I have heard of Raider Clan, but I don't. Who all's in Raider Clan again?
Young Simi, Denzel Curry. I think Puya was in it. No, yeah. Puya wasn't in it.
No, it wasn't Puya. I don't know. It's a big group of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. From what I know about them, I'll leave everybody out but Denzel Curry. Like, Denzel Curry's ridiculous, but Young Simi, I don't.
Nah, yeah, I feel you. I kind of grew up on them through high school, so I was just asking that. To back up real quick, all the way to the beginning, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay.
I just turned 24 like a couple weeks ago.
All right, yeah, I'm 21. He's 23. And then you went to college for music. You went to Folsom. No, you went for film.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you like get into music, or are you more into producing or like making music?
So I started rapping as a joke when I was like 16 or 17, But then I was kind of good at it, so like I kept doing it because it was fun. Like you said, like it's fun.
Yeah.
Even if you're not gonna do anything with it, like it's fun to put on beats and rap. Like that's just kind of fun. And then I kept doing it like off and on. And then I moved to Orlando, and I was a bit of a fuck up in Orlando. So like I was making music, but like I wasn't trying that hard. And then since I've been back in Naples area, like I've actually been like working on it. But like I don't really have any interest in producing, like other than like having creative control. But like I prefer rapping over producing. Like I could learn it, but I'm not going to be good for 2 to 5 years because no one's good for 2 to 5 years. And then I can start making my own shit. But like I'm more focused on getting my own music done. And then maybe once I can afford the equipment, transitioning to like learning how to produce. But getting good enough to like make an album yourself takes a while.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's like a whole new skill set.
So freestyling is your thing. So
it's fun.
It's his thing.
Yeah, because he'll send me and I see on his stories and multiple people's stories the Kava Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
I work Friday morning, so like I try to get out there, but I got to be up at 6 and on the road and shit. So
I feel you.
yeah, so that's going on. But like, yeah, he'll send me this shit, and I don't get it. I mean, like, cause I try. I'm not kidding. I'm not a rapper, but like. I drive an hour every day to work, and I'll put on an instrumental, and I'll rap the whole time. And like you said, practice makes perfect. I feel myself getting better, but then like seeing you, I'm like, nah, I'm not getting better. I'm not, because I'm using the same words and shit.
But okay, there's 2 things. 1, I've been doing this for 6 years now. 2, like I've a lot of trial and error, so like I figured out ways to get better because I've been working on it for so long. And also like some of the stuff you'll see from him. The way I freestyle is I will freestyle till I'm about to lose it, and then I'll throw in an old written till I can get the freestyle back instead of fucking up. Like you bring in old writtens that like, I don't know. Freestyling can be a lot of different things where like some people freestyle and just like put on a beat and rap, but a beat they weren't ready for and then rap in a verse they've already written. Some people it's a mixed bag. Sometimes you freestyle just completely off top. Like it just depends on what style of it you're doing. But the way I got better at it was a Google word generator, so random Google words, and a beat playlist. Like I would just sit there for hours, would just like click, and it'd be like Lady Gaga, and then I'd have to rap about Lady Gaga, and then like every 30 seconds I would click the new word, and it would get a new word, and then the beats would just run into each other. But like there's like steps to it. So like when you first start rapping, and if it's Lady Gaga, you'd be like, yeah, I'm born this way, like Lady Gaga, no stop ya. Like you'll just like say what the word is, and then once you like figure that out, if Lady Gaga comes up, you'll reference her, but you won't like say the word Lady Gaga. So if it pops up Lady Gaga, you'll be like, dressed to the nines and some meat shit. You gonna meet that we need shit. Like you'll just like reference them, but you won't use the actual word because it's more complicated and like it's harder to do. And it's like just brain exercises.
Yeah, that's sick. That's what I've realized too. And like having those little one-liners that you can resort back to before you fuck up is important too. Because I've noticed like I'll be rapping and I'll be like, okay, what? And then I'll have one thing that's like it's kind of like my go-to that can bring me back to another rap and keep it going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then it's getting into more complex like starting to rhyme whole sentences instead of just the end rhyme, or internal rhyme schemes where you're not the last word's like the same, or the last word doesn't rhyme at all, but the 3 words before it rhyme, or like structural stuff. Like you just get into like the science of it, and it's
Turn in slant rhymes and whatever.
I mean hip hop's all slant rhyme. People aren't out here like
Dr.
really
Seuss.
being worried about the rhyme like being perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of making up and bending words in hip hop, like that's since the beginning.
Babkins, way too many Babkins.
Yeah, way too many napkins. All right, so like I'm. This is one reason I'm doing the podcast is because I'm pretty ignorant to a lot of things, especially musically. Like I don't know a whole lot of stuff. That's why it's cool to talk to people who do, because like I'm learning through this. It's like a very natural thing. But like there's a whole lot of. I'm sure you got a list of a whole bunch of people that you've respected over the years, and like people you like key as like the greatest freestylers or whatever. But what do you think about like there's certain videos that I see, and I just wonder like that's awesome. They seem like masters, but how did they do that? Like you know the video of Mac Miller freestyling for like 10 minutes straight?
Yeah. He's doing that with old writtens and new stuff. So like he's got go-tos. So he's got, and it depends on the rapper, right? So like if you see, I'm trying to think. Like Mac kind of weaved in and out of stuff. Like I do. Like Mac will go freestyle to written, freestyle to written, freestyle to written, and like you can tell because he's more playful. When he's serious rapping, when he was, those were typically like writtens, but he didn't know what beat it was going to be. And then when he was like being goofy and funny, like those were typically the freestyles, right? Like when he's making jokes in the lines and stuff. So you can like kind of look, and then some people can just fucking like for real are on a different level. And
what about one video I always like is Black Thought's 10-minute freestyle 2 on Funk Flex.
Yeah, like that's just a different human. Like that's just not. He's not the same species as other people. Like he's just like out. Black Thought's on another planet.
Yeah, because like you said, you can usually tell. Like there's a Logic freestyle I always reference because he starts, because I loved his Under Pressure album, and like I noticed the verses he took from that album and put into this when he was trying to freestyle. So like he'll start it and do a verse he already wrote, and then you can tell when he gets into like just like going off the dome or whatever. But then Black Thought, I watched that and I'm like, how did he do that?
Because he's Black Thought and he's not normal. Like it's not. There's just a few people out there that like they're just not.
So who are some of those people on your list?
I don't know. Kendrick can do a little bit. Lil Wayne forever is that. Like that's how he writes. Like Lil Wayne just goes into a booth and raps and raps and raps and raps and raps till he likes it. And then like I don't know. Like there's just like I would have to like listen to it and hear it to see if it's off top or like. And everybody does both. That's the thing. Everybody does both. Like my issue. The one thing I don't like is if you're gonna rap a written verse, it can't go on an album or it can't be from an album. It can go on an album if you haven't put it out yet, but you can't freestyle a verse that's already come out on something. Yeah, like that is just that should be like etiquette. Like just like if it's already released, you can't be like freestyling that over new beats because like we've heard it. Like we want to hear something new. That's why we're doing this. So like if Sway throws on the 5 Fingers of Death shit and your 5 beats, like I don't want to hear a verse from your last album
for sure.
But if it's on your next album, like fair play kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know because I got into Logic late, so I listened to his old albums, and I don't know like the time frame of when he did that freestyle to win. What's your opinion on that?
Okay, I might just be a snob, but like I might be. I am definitely a hip hop snob, and like so take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm like I'm annoying about it. But Logic's one of those artists who's good enough where you don't compare him to everyone else; you just compare him to himself. And I feel like he's been pandering and not progressing for like 5 years. So he's just been rapping about what he thinks people want him to rap about and then making the same album twice. So Bobby Tarantino 1 and Bobby Tarantino 2 are the same fucking album. They're the same thing. At least he tried whatever he just put out that like it's like indie stuff. It's like newer.
Oh, his soundtrack for his book.
Yeah, he's trying something. You know what I mean? At least he's trying something new, which I fuck with. Like even if you try something that sucks, and I'm not saying I haven't listened to the whole thing, so I have no opinion on that album yet. But like if you try something and it does suck, like at least you tried something.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna put 2 albums out that are the same album, like why'd you bother with the second one? The first one was good. Why'd you even bother with the second one?
I feel that, yeah.
And that's how I feel about Logic. I feel like he just has not progressed and he's pandering a lot. Like he's just
I feel that. Did you hear his new Young Sinatra album? Young Sinatra 4?
Maybe, probably bits and pieces of it. I don't know. The stuff I listen to now is so weird. Like I listen to mostly I don't listen to music anymore. Like I'm listening to mostly like weird podcasts and like audiobooks and shit. And then when I listen to music, it's like weird indie, like underground stuff. A lot of indie rock lately. Like and then like weird rappers that like no one hears of. Like there's this dude Artie Basquiat that I really, really, really fuck with. I think he's from Vegas. I think his shit's got like 900 views on YouTube, but it's so good. Like it's so good.
I love that. I love that you do that.
Yeah, well, and then there's people like Coda the Friend who was that 3 years ago, and now he's like blowing up a little bit, and like now everything he does gets like a couple 100,000 views, and like that's awesome. But I was listening to him when he was already like 3 years ago, and like that's cool to see. Like I like watching that happen. Like it's fun to watch like people who deserve it like make it.
Hell yeah, it is.
And that's why it's cool. The everything. I mean, I think Southwest. I want your opinion on like Southwest Florida's scene in general, but like. With everything you do with Coffee Thursdays and all these local people that like everyone at those events are really good about like cross promoting, networking, like sharing each other's stuff, like shouting each other out because you know we're all in this together and it's cool. There are people who are very, very talented around here that you will never hear about if no one shouts them out. You know,
there is a weird pocket of talent from like Fort Myers, Lehigh area down to Marco. Like it is a weird pocket per capita. The talent level is super high. Like it's very odd. Like And it's in all the mediums. Like there's some really, really dope photographers down here. There's some really, really dope musicians of like all genres. Like there's people like you making grip tape and like painters and like there's like the community's really strong down here for where we live, which is weird because it's like a retirement community and like where there's no major city. It's just a bunch of suburbs and like it's just like a weird place. But like from the people who've already made it out, like Fike But like, there's also XMBIX who are like amazing, and like, there's this kid Hellboy Ducati out of Cape, and there's this dude June who's amazing, and Last Minute Customer's amazing, and like Slight and Sling, and then when you get into like outside of music, you're doing like Saiyan Season and you and Darby and like all this shit, and then Jams is like a really dope photographer and Authentic Perspectives, like this really dope videographer, and like there's all these people. Like if you need something done, you can find it down here. Like if you're like, hey, we need a theme song for our podcast, like you can find a rapper to do it or a singer to do it.
Yeah.
Or if like, hey, like, you know, I really would like someone to skate on my grip tape. I would like to sponsor somebody. Like you could find a good skater down here, or like you could find like a rapper that skates, or like whatever. Like you can find what you need locally. You don't have to outsource to like Miami or Tampa or Orlando anymore, because like there's just a weird, strong community down here. And I think that's why we all promote so well, because we know we can do it without help. We can just promote each other.
And I've heard people say that the scene here is shit for like music, skateboarding, like art, everything in general. Some people say that the scene is shit, but I don't agree. I think that
it's a negative attitude.
I know.
You're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, and I think that like one thing that a couple of the guests have said is that there's so, like you said, there's a bunch of talent here, and it's just a matter of time before like it pops off. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this could be like if everyone keep. I mean, I feel like I'm ignorant because I just started like going to these events and like meeting these people. So like I don't really know myself. I'm trying to like figure it out too. But like from what I've seen so far, it seems like there's a lot of really awesome people trying to do awesome things. And if everyone just keeps up with it, it's gonna be a really cool place to flourish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where like pockets pop off at once, right? So like when Chance blew up, then Vic Mensa and Alex Wiley in Tokyo blew up, and then a little bit later, No Name and Saba blew up, and that's all Chicago. And like it just takes one. So we had Fike, right? So like hypothetically, I don't know who got music with Fike, but like let's say the other Backhouse dudes. So Fike's gonna blow up. Columbia's pushing him, right? And I don't know that dude at all. Like I don't know. He's gonna do nothing for me directly, but he grew up down here and he ran around with all the Backhouse dudes. So let's say one of Dominic's old song pops up, like because everybody really listens to Three Nights, and he was just on that Kevin Abstract song and like all this shit, right? So the music nerds like me are digging through the Fike archives and they find this song with Slight. And then they're like, ooh, Slight's dope. And then they start bumping Slight. And then like somebody's bumping like the Fike song, be like, oh, there's this dude Slight in this, it's really dope. And then someone else hears Slight and they're like, oh, this is really ill. And then like they become a bigger fan of Slight because that's more their style than Dominic. And then like through Slight, like Slight might have music with Yano, and then Yano might have music with whatever. And then VI and Yano got music, and VI might be wearing like a Saiyan Season shirt. And then someone's like, oh, that's a really dope shirt. Like, where do I get like, it's just a domino kind of thing where it spreads for a little while. Yeah. Right, because people are nerdy and they just dig. They want to know, right?
Exactly.
So you end up with someone's always going to be, like, stay the most prominent. Like, that's why Chance, like, of that little Chicago scene, like, Chance is still by far the most prominent. But I can run through that list. You know who Saba and No Name, like, you might not know exactly who they are, but you've heard of them. Or, like, you know who Vic Mensa is. Like, people know who that is, and it starts with one person kind of, like, setting that thing off. Like, Tech Nine did that in Kansas City for Chris Calico and all the Strange Music people. Like, if you love Tech Nine, you're going to learn about the rest of Strange Music. So it's that kind of thing where, like, all you need is one kind of thing to get a group to go. And there's just a bunch of talent down here. So it's easy to get there kind of thing.
Hell yeah. So you know Backhouse?
Yeah, I know them a little bit. Like, I'm getting to know them better and better. But, like, I know they work with XMBX, and like I've known XMBX since I moved here. They were the first people I met when I moved down here. So Sweet. I'm getting to know Backhouse through XMBX, but I barely know them at this point. Like that's a new thing that's happening for me.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you know? So you know Slight? You fuck with Slight's music?
Yeah, Slight's super dope, and like Slight's a cool dude from what I can tell. This is very new.
Did you know Slight is Dom's older brother?
I didn't know they were like directly related.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because I mention this like every episode, and I want to stop doing it. But I grew up with Dominic, and like so Dom and Alex, his little brother, and then like Slight is their oldest brother, Sean. Okay. And then they have another brother too, but then I gotta get into that. So yeah, like they're all doing their thing. Music. Fike took off. Dom took off. Alex is really talented too. He always has been. And then their older brother Slight, he has a different aesthetic appeal, but he's really good in his own way too. But all those dudes, Sino, they kill it. And from like you said with Chance, how you seen Chance like take off and you see him skyrocket. I did the same thing with Fike. Like I was listening to Dom when his songs like Divine Intervention and all these old songs that aren't even out anymore were like popping. He was making music with Backhouse and Matt and all this, and now you can't find any of the songs, but like I was listening to the songs and I'd show him and be like, dude, this is my friend, like he needs to blow up, like he's so good. And now he took off, but like all his old shit's wiped off.
Yeah, it happens. That's how labels work, and like that's why you gotta balance what you want from like your success, like whether you want to stay independent, you want to go label, you want to like a mixed bag kind of situation. But like my favorite person from down here is, I don't know if you know Yeek at all.
Yeah. Okay,
so I met Yeek like 2.5. Again, I barely know Yeek. I've met him twice, but I just love this story because it's the kind of it's the kind of shit I love, right? So I met him at South Street's open mic like 2.5 years ago. But he introduced himself by his real name is Sebastian, and he shows up. Like, he'd never been to this before. He's like, yeah, I'm in town from L.A. Like, I'm out there making music. Like, whatever. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, there's some dude who lives in L.A. Gets on stage, destroys, fucking leaves. That's it. Did that again, like, 3 months later. Again, Sebastian, not Yeek. And then, it's like, whatever. I forget about him. And then I discovered this rapper, Duckworth, out in L.A. And Duckworth's, like, this weird, odd, like, poppy, like, EDM-y, like, housey stuff. Like, it's just weird. It's just different stuff, and I like it. And I see in recommended videos, Yeek. And I, like, clicked it. And it's Sebastian, like, and him and Duckworth are friends. And, like, I would never have found Sebastian's actual music if it weren't for me, like, being nerdy and delving into the archives of Duckworth and finding, like, the recommended videos because they hang out. So they, like, are associated. And then now Yeek's one of my most played musicians. But, like, not because I met him at South Street, but because of Duckworth. Like, it was just weird. Like, this weird, like, serendipity thing where, like, someone I met as Sebastian 2.5 years ago, like, twice, like, has some video with, like, 4,000 views. And now he's touring and shit. Like, now he's blowing up, which is fucking amazing. But, like, it's just, like, a weird, odd story that, like, I met this dude and he just killed and left.
Yeah, that's funny. Anything you want to add?
Yeah. I was wondering, because you go all over the place around Southwest Florida, like, going to events, you host your own events, stuff like that. Do you have any, like, other crazy stories from around here, just, like, weird things that have happened?
I'm trying to think, like, the weirder stuff is, like, I don't know. It's Naples and Fort Myers, like, not that much weird shit happens. Like, I don't know, like, it's, all the events are super low-key. That's the nice thing about this community, is, like, it doesn't get too crazy. Like, people just kind of kick it and, like, make music. But I don't know. Orlando was a weird scene. Like, Orlando's, like...
Yeah, tell me about that.
Mostly EDM. Like, Orlando's odd. And, like, I was... In between school and moving back here, I still had a lease, so I had to stay for, like, an 8-month period. So, like, I made all my money up there just throwing parties. And, like, promoting events and shit. And, like, Orlando's, like... Do you know who Mike Busey is? You ever heard of Mike Busey? Ever heard of the Sausage Castle? Okay, so... Mike Busey, and again, this could be bullshit, but from everything I know, Mike Busey is Gary Busey's nephew. And he's also, like, head juggalo for the Insane Clown Posse. Like, he is fan number one. Like, they tour with them, right? And Busey's got all this money, and, like, he had this house outside of Orlando called the Sausage Castle. And it was, like, 45-minute, hour drive outside of Orlando. Like, every couple months, you would buy it. You'd pay, like, $50, and you'd get a party bus ride out to the Sausage Castle, and then drink for free. Like, not for free, you paid $50, but you just unlimited drinking all night. And, like, just this weird fat fucking house on, like, a couple acres of land. They've got an air cannon on the roof. They just shoot shit out of that. While you're waiting to get patted down to get in, there's a bar in the driveway, so you can grab a drink while you're waiting to go in. And then they've got, like, they had, like, a staircase going upstairs, but that was for, like, family only. But family there is, like, anyone who, like, is part of the crew. So the way they blocked off that staircase is they just had, like, this, like, 600-pound dude who sat on a stool in front of the staircase, and he'd just, like, greet everybody. But, like, you couldn't go upstairs because you would have to get past him. And then you would take a right, and then there'd be, like, a booth. That instead of, like, chairs, they, like, put a booth into the wall, and then, like, a stripper pole, and there's usually strippers on it. And then you go a little farther back, and there's, like, this raised stage for a DJ, and then you go into the kitchen, and instead of wallpaper or, like, paint, they've got Polaroid photos from other parties, like, wallpapering the walls, and it's, like, people doing coke, and, like, people having sex in the pool, and it's just, like, just the raunchiest Polaroid photos you'll ever see. Wallpapering the whole thing, like, panties hanging from the ceiling, and then you go into the back, and there's, like, a grotto, like, Playboy Mansion, but grosser-esque thing in the back, and then there's, like, this little shack where everybody smokes weed, and then it burnt down, we think, for insurance money. And like I don't know why it actually burned, but the sausage castle burnt down, and like now there's a new smaller sausage castle somewhere. But like that was a thing while I was in Orlando. Like you would just like hop on a bus and head to the sausage castle every couple months and just like get super drunk. And then there would be party buses that left at 2, 4, and 6 a.m. and you would go home. And like that was just a thing we did in Orlando. It was just a strange fucking place.
Damn, that's crazy. What year was that around?
When did that place burn down? I think it burnt down in like 2015 or 16, maybe. I don't know. I was here when it burned down.
True.
But
That sounds like a crazy time up there.
Dude, Orlando, like I was out of hand in Orlando, man. Like I just had nothing to do for like 8 months. Like I was out of school, but like I wasn't work. Like I don't know. It was just a weird time. Doing way too many drugs, and like I had like weird hippie, Grateful Dead, Deadhead roommates that were just like they'd come home with like a bucket of shrooms. Then my screens would be off my window, and they'd be drying shrooms on like my window screens. And then we'd have like a shitload of shrooms for free because this weird nomad named Doc, who was a mycologist, would come stay with us for a couple months, and then also like dip out and like go hang out with one of his like 9 kids all over the fucking country, and then end up in the woods for like 6 months living off mushrooms because he's like was a very smart person, but just like this odd hippie nomad who didn't have a home, and like he just moved in with us every couple months and would just like stay and like raise a baby possum he found, and then like dip out. But like while he was there, there'd just be a shitload of shrooms in the house, and like I don't know, it was just a very, very strange time.
That's great. One thing I ask all the guests, and it's fine if you don't have any sort of things because I don't. I ask every guest if they have any like ghost stories or like paranormal like things that have happened to them throughout their life. Do you have any?
No, unfortunately, I am a very much like ghosts aren't real, God is dead, like nothing. I want more than anything for that stuff to be real, but I have no faith that anything like that exists at all.
That's exactly how I am because nothing has ever happened to me, and I'm a huge skeptic. So like anything that like has been kind of weird, like all these people say like my store is haunted, the place I work, and I'm like okay, why do you say that?
You work at Aldi?
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to me why all of you guys look like bus drivers in your uniforms? Like the new uniforms, like they look like some sort of like service, and like they look like mall cops basically.
Yeah.
Like what is that?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff about Aldi being like a German company and everything.
It's a German company?
Yeah.
I'm just glad they don't smell like. I'm just glad they don't smell like old people anymore. Every Aldi on the planet used to smell like old people. Like you just couldn't go in them because like it smelled like death in there.
That's how my old store was in Pennsylvania. That's how it was.
Yeah, it smelled better now, but, but like Aldi was terrifying.
Yeah, dude. But the people will say my store is haunted, and the stories that they'll tell me, I'm just like, okay, seems like there could be a logical explanation to that. And like I came in, one thing that one dude swore, he's like, all right, this place is haunted. Because you know the things when you're walking out of a grocery store, the little like sensors that like beep if you have something you stole or whatever. Those will just beep for no reason. Mm-hmm. And so that was hit. And he said there was one day that it started beeping and no one was in the door or whatever, and it just kept beeping. And he was like very serious. And he's like, come on, because people had said the place was haunted. He's like, come on, go, stop. I gotta leave. Don't start this right now. And then it stopped. And he's like, all right, it's haunted. So like that was his conclusion. And when it comes
or
to
like a loose wire, or like dust on the sensor, or
see, I've heard some crazy stories from people that I can't really explain. But when it comes to technology like that,
well, my thing is like, why is there no ghosts from the 80s? Like we live in Florida, a bunch of people definitely overdose on coke down here. Like that is for sure. Why are there no ghosts from the 80s? Like why is that not haunting my house? They're always old, like Victorian ghosts. It's always like it's never anything new. There's no evidence. There's more cameras and like audio recordings than ever before, and like we can't catch anything cool on camera ever. Mm-hmm. Nothing. There's no ghosts. There's no Bigfoots. There's no fucking aliens, unfortunately. Like nothing. Like, there's nothing ever, and there's cameras everywhere. So I can't believe any of it. Like I would love if something was real, but like how do I believe it?
No, I feel that. Yeah, was that it on that?
Well, no, I had something I could add. Because, like you said, there's cameras everywhere. Like, the other morning, I came in, got there at 4:30 a.m., and it was only me in the store. And right when I turned off the alarm, things start beeping at the doors. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, that's weird. And they just kept beeping. And I
sounds like you have wiring problems.
Yeah. And I immediately get out my phone, go to the camera, hit record, and I start recording it. And I walk all the way up to it while it's beeping, and I look at it, and it stops beeping. And I just go back to what I'm doing.
You need an electrician, not an exorcist. I don't know. Like, the stuff I think is cool is more like, I like like there's enough crazy weird shit that like we don't have to fake, like aliens and like the theories on like the universe and shit. Like there's that stuff,
regular biological stuff that's crazy to learn about.
Like what, tardigrades. Like, what the fuck are those things? Like 8-legged little microscopic, bulletproof, like space-proof fucking animals that exist, or like all the theories on like what actually like we can just, instead of discussing ghosts, we can run through like all the crazy shit that the universe could be, and like simulation theory and like temporal looping and all this crazy shit. Like why? That stuff's plenty interesting.
Because when it comes to all those like weird stories of like seeing a ghost in your house or seeing something that's not there, one thing that I'm not like a scientist or whatever, so I don't know that.
You're not?
So I don't know. I can't like say for sure with facts, but you heard of string theory? Yeah. Like I like the idea that what people see or whatever, like the apparitions or things that aren't there, is just the overlapping of these like realities, or whatever. I think that's a lot more entertaining than thinking about like
or like you ever heard like deja vu might just be like a delay on one of your eyes, like it's just like the information from your left eye is getting there after the right eye by like a hair. So like that's what's causing deja vu. You're like, I swear I've seen that before, because you saw it twice, like it went in and out.
Whoa, I never heard that before.
That could be bullshit, but like it's an interesting idea.
Fun to think about.
Yeah. I don't know. My favorite one is my favorite like universe theory is like the massive expansion, massive contraction, like just the back and forth forever and ever, and then like it's turtles all the way down. So like, what causes that? But like that it just expands infinitely till it stops, and then it contracts infinitely till it's a finite point, and then does it again and again, over and over again forever. And like that's really cool to me. But like also, because the problem is you can figure out what caused that, but then what caused that and that and that and that, and it's turtles all the way down. So like it's just one of those things where you're never gonna there's no bottom to the answer. Like just more questions every time you answer something.
It makes me worry about my problems I have in my life a lot less when I think about like the universe and like how tiny.
Like why bother? Like nothing's important.
Yeah, like we're gonna 2 hours late to work today,
and no one's gonna care. And the human race is gonna go away, and the universe isn't gonna care, and like just nothing matters that much. Like nothing at all. But like, so just enjoy it. Like why worry about that shit? Just like enjoy because everything's pointless. There's no point. There's no actual point to anything other than what it means to you. Like just enjoy yourself and don't be a dick. It's basically all you need to do.
And see, like I remember when I first explained this to him, he's like, "Bro, you're twisted." Because I got this tattoo, "Don't Fear the Reaper," and I don't really like put meanings into my tattoos. Really, I just get cool stuff on me. But this one like has a little bit of meaning just because like I've sort of came to that conclusion that like there's so many bad things that happen every single day. There's no way you can get around it. Nothing ever goes according to plan the way you want it to. Good things happen, bad things happen, whatever. And just coming to the conclusion that we're going to die. There's not going to be like
I don't know if that's true. We might be the first like.
You're right. That's a possibility.
Like I'm trying to stay. The reason I fast and eat healthy and exercise is I'm trying to get to like 75 where they can throw my ass in a new body and then put me to sleep and just send me to Alpha Centauri. Like,
and we're not far. We're not far. I do a lot of research into like stem cells, and dude, they're already
grow me. If I had the money, I'd be culturing my own stem cells out of my hip right now. Like, if
there's people doing that with the money, dude. Literally.
Like, I know, but I can't fucking afford it. Like, I would be.
I feel you.
I want a new body in like 60 years.
No, I feel you. Straight
up. What? Like, I don't know. People like my family thinks I'm insane. Like, my sister first of all calls me a fake atheist. She doesn't think I actually don't believe in anything. But that being said, like. They think it's sad that I don't like want to die. Like I think it'd be really. I look up at the stars. It's sad. I'm not going to see it. There's so much stuff. So anything I can do to extend like fun time, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Like if I'm crippled and like old and in a wheelchair, like maybe I'll go skydiving with no parachute. But I don't think we're going to get to that point. Like I think I'm either going to die young or I'll be healthy enough to like throw me in a new body or like cyborg, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Or AI will kill us. Like who knows what it's going to be.
Straight up, yeah. Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could tell.
But I'm just parroting off shit at this point. Like we're just replicating that podcast basically.
No, I mean, once you said you listen to I mean, who doesn't listen to Joe Rogan Experience? Like,
hey, dude, I listen to Joe. My favorite thing about Joe is I find other stuff to listen to. Like I can find now I listen to Sam Harris all the time, and like I listen to Dave Rubin a little bit. Like sometimes he's a little too much for me, but like I can find my science stuff. I can find I can find other interesting things to go with other than Joe. And like, I don't really do his MMA stuff because I don't have much interest in it. But I don't know. I've probably listened to like 500 to 700 of his podcasts probably over the last 3 or 4 years. Like I've dug back through the archives. Like he checks. Yeah. But then you find like Sam Harris is one of my favorite people. And then I don't know. You just find all these fucking cool people. He has all the coolest people. Why would I not listen to it? Like, I don't know.
What's his podcast called? Sam Harris?
It used to be called Waking Up, and now it's called Making Sense. Like he changed the name and the music, and I don't know how I feel about it.
I'll give that a listen, yeah, because like I said, I work construction, so 8 hours a day. I got headphones.
Yep.
In. I'm just same with you, like ebook or audiobooks and fucking podcasts.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm like slacking on my podcast right now because I'm doing the Game of Thrones books. I was like, I'm not gonna find the time to watch these shows.
Well,
I'm just gonna do the books.
I've thought about it, but that's a task.
Well, do you have like I'm doing a shameless ad for this company right now, but Audible's fucking awesome.
Oh my god, it is.
It's you just pay $14 a month, and then like Game of Thrones audiobooks, if you didn't have Audible, are $40. But with Audible, it's $14 a month, and you get a free book every month.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, or you can buy more credits for like you can get 3 books for like $40, and then you just buy all the Game of Thrones books. So I'm on book like 4 right now, and they're like I've watched up to like season 4 of Game of Thrones, and they're pretty accurate. Like they stick pretty well. They're just like way more detail in the books.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm driving or working all day, so why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you guys do podcasts other than Rogan?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You listen to yours. You got good ones.
I'm big on podcasts. Like I do Rogan, Chris D'Elia for laughs. Chris D'Elia's Congratulations podcast. I do like the Nine Club is a skateboarding podcast. Okay. I'd probably have to pull out my podcast thing and see.
What's the one you always advertised to me? The one the Armchair Expert? No. There was a different one. It was Backstreet or I forget what it's called.
Oh, Wine and Weed. The Wine and Weed podcast?
No, there was a different one too. That one, but then there was a different one too. It's one that you say like, how do you not listen to this? It's a comedy podcast.
See, I don't do a lot of the my podcasts are all for like learning. Like I'm doing politics, science, and then I've got one like fun podcast, and it's the Levitard Show. Which I don't know if you know that. It's like a sports radio show out of Miami, but it's not a sports radio. They just make fun of sports radio. But like I hated the show for like ever. And then I gave it an everyday for 2 weeks, and it's all inside jokes. So like the longer you listen to it, the better the show gets.
That's like Chris D'Elia's podcast.
Mm-hmm. So I fucking hate it. You hate it for like 2 weeks. You like have to listen every day and just suffer for 2 weeks till you get it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get on more like educational podcasts. Do you have any that off rip you recommend?
Sam Harris, Very Bad Wizards is like psychology. There's Philosophize This, which is philosophy, obviously. Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. Joe talks about that one all the time. That's like history. And then I do politics. Like I do both. I go out of my way to do like left and right. So I do Ben Shapiro because he's super right, but like I can tolerate him because I don't feel like he's lying to me. And then I'll do like Ezra Klein. I'll do his podcast because he's super far left. And then I'll do like Quillette, which is kind of more in the middle, like libertarian-y. And then I'll do like The Economist's podcast. And then occasionally like I'll listen to Tim Pool, who's a journalist. I do his YouTube channel. Tim Pool's awesome. So like I just bounce around, but like I try to make sure I listen to everybody, especially on like issues that seem confusing because everybody's got their own fucking opinion. It's usually the things they agree on that are the truth. And then all the other shit's bullshit. It's just partisan, like left-right insanity.
And so many people argue they have such strong opinions and they don't know what it is. They don't have a full enough like knowledge of what they're arguing about.
The amount of people who have an opinion on healthcare blows my mind. Do you think any of us actually have spent what do you probably need to understand healthcare? 5 years to actually understand what would work?
Yeah.
Like if you're smart enough, which I don't know if I am, to understand like the actual economics behind healthcare. But everybody's got a fucking opinion on healthcare. Like we all think we know the right answer. Like if you're Republican, you're like, oh no, the market will take care of it. And if you're liberal, like, no, everybody free medicine. And it's like we know nothing. None of us know anything. Like you just have an opinion that is uninformed entirely because you're not an economist. You do not have the time to study this. So we're all voting on shit we don't understand at all.
Yeah.
And then we're letting all these people we vote into office fuck us because we don't understand what they're doing. And, like, it's just weird. Like, we don't understand any of this stuff. So we're just, like, letting these people run our lives that...
Right.
Because they're the only ones with the time to understand it. So unless you fix that setup where, like, they can write all these crazy, complicated omnibus bullshit packages where, like, we're voting on oil, but it also... Like, the Florida one. Did you guys vote in 2018?
Yeah.
Or no, it was 2018. Yeah, it was 2018. They had, like, a one of the... proposals on there was like a anti-pollution bill. It was like for oil, but also like in the subtext it was like no vaping either.
Yes!
And it's like, how are those related?
I noticed that. It's like I remember looking at that on the ballot, and I'm like, well, I don't want pollution anymore, but I don't give a shit if people vape in public.
I don't like. Even if I did, I was like, we really gotta nip this vaping shit in the ass. Like, if I was really adamant about that, it still shouldn't be part of the oil bill. Like, they're not related. Right? They're not the same thing. Like, why is that even allowed? But I don't understand why it's allowed because I know nothing. I know zero things.
Yeah.
Like, I know no things. So I just have opinions that, like, I think universal healthcare would be great, but I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I am. Where like I don't like to yell at someone like, no, you're wrong because I'm right because like I don't know if I'm right. I don't know enough. Yeah,
like I have things I'm very opinionated about that I think like logically make sense, but I'll have my mind change, and two, I have things like I know I don't know shit about.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about like complicated economics. Like I don't know. Like capitalism sounds great, but I could be wrong. but like I think it's good. I think it's better than everything else. But like maybe socialism's awesome, and I just don't understand. I just don't get it, but it doesn't sound great to me. But I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
it's
way to
good
know.
that you look at both because a lot of people don't like they get so stuck in one hallway that they just forget that like there's logic behind the other argument too. So like if you look at it's healthy to look at both and be like, okay, I see what they're saying here, still disagree, but I see what you're saying, and leave your mind open to change.
Yeah,
because some people just close off their mind and then.
Like, have you taken the political compass test? You guys should take it. It's really cool. Like, it'll set you up, and like obviously there's flaws in anything like that, but it'll set you basically up on like an XY grid and have you answer all these like really in-depth questions. It probably takes like 30 minutes. But you don't need to like, you don't actually have to understand policy. It's more opinion based. Like it's more just moralities and like and the way you think about the world kind of stuff. And it'll throw you on this XY grid. And it's all sectioned off into like what different political philosophies are, and it'll show you how much you like. Sometimes you're like, you're not a socialist, but like maybe you're a social anarchist, but you're close to socialism, or maybe you're a social anarchist and you're closer to libertarian. So like, depending on where on the grid you are, like you're a social anarchist with socialist leanings, or you're a social anarchist with this, or like whatever. And then it'll also give you reference points to where politicians would fall. So like the top right corner's Hitler and the top left corner's Stalin. And then like Gandhi's, I think he was like dead center all the way to the left, and then. Like Obama and Bush are both in the upper right quadrant, which doesn't make sense because you would think like Obama would be on the left and Bush would be on the right. They're both in that upper right quadrant based on what they did, and what they say they believe in. Like they're both closer to fascism and conservatism than like you would ever expect them to be. But they're not fascists, but like they're in that upper right quadrant, which is like government control shit. So like you can kind of understand where you're at a little bit better. Yeah. If you take that test. So it's, I think something they should do in schools like when you're like 18.
Yeah, I remember, I think it might be a similar thing. I remember I think it was my economics class. Yeah, it was economics in high school or something. I saw a grid like that, but I think it was sectioned off to where it was like one axis was like economics and one axis was social issues. And
that's how it is.
And yeah, like I think that's important because sometimes like there are these two-party system where some people will subscribe to one or the other, and they'll just block out everything. Like they'll be like it's almost like an archetype, like you'll pick left. So then you're like, okay, that means I believe in these things, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, the fact that you can tell me what you think about abortion and I can know what you think about taxes is insane.
Yeah, right.
Like they have nothing to do with each other,
right? Yeah.
But if you tell me you're pro-choice, then I know what you think about taxes 90% of the time, because no one actually they just. All right, Democrat, just check down ballot, or Republican, just check down ballot. And, like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And, like, conservatives aren't, like, the Republican Party isn't conservative. Like, they're not. Like, conservative philosophy is, like, really tiny government and, like, stay out of people's businesses, but they want to do all sorts of stuff that's in your business. So, like, people are conservatives, they're fucking not. They're populists and they're on the right. Like, they're Republicans. And then, like, Democrats say they're liberal, but they're really like socialist, or like it's just like nobody's what they say they are or what they think they are. They don't understand what they are, and like that's a huge problem because you don't know what you're talking. Like you might know what you're talking about, but you don't know where you're coming from. You don't know why you think that. Yeah, like why you think something's just as important as what you think. Like you got to trace back why your opinion is that. Nobody does that. They just know what they think, and then that's the end of it. But like, why do you think that?
That's true.
And it's so problematic whenever you get into that like vacuum or whatever. Like if you call yourself like, all right, I'm a I'm a liberal, very, very liberal person, Democrat, and like everyone you follow on Facebook is liberal, and everything you ever listen to is liberal, and you just don't even listen to the other side because they're all idiots and whatever. It like so problematic to like
Everyone's
your brain,
idiots.
you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just I don't know, man. I think, but I also think we think it's a lot worse than it is. I think it's the best time to be alive ever. Like I talk to people about, like I call it like my cruise ship theory. So like, okay, if the primordial ooze, single cell organisms, one island, and perfect utopia is the other island, and the only thing in the middle is ocean. Humanity's on a cruise ship, and when we divided the first cell, that was leaving port, and then we may never hit the other island, but we're getting closer and closer every day. And the only thing that's important is don't go too left for too long, or too right too long, till you turn around, because cruise ships take a minute. So as long as you just kind of weave in, you're still going forward, and don't hit a fucking iceberg. Nuclear war is icebergs. Disease is icebergs. Like, just avoid icebergs and just don't veer one direction too long so you turn around, because then you're still going forward. So like, we've been going forward. We just dip a little bit this way, we dip a little this way, and the Nazis almost killed us. And then,
Dodging icebergs.
yeah, you just dodge icebergs. We're just weaving through icebergs. Just don't be the Titanic. That's all. Just avoid the icebergs.
Damn, that's a good way to. You came up with that?
Smart.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Who
knows?
Hey, speaking of that, how you said we're headed on this cruise ship towards like some sort of utopia and like perfection.
Yeah.
What I'm sure you've heard about this listening to Joe Rogan. You'd probably know all about Elon Musk and everything. What do you think? Because he said something about how we're like quickly approaching a singularity with technology, to where like he doesn't think we're far off to being like in a very mutualistic relationship with technology, because he put it as we kind of already are, because he said like how one
you're
day
already a cyborg, but you're just not attached to it yet.
yeah exactly, because he thinks that one day our brains will work like our smartphones, where we can just think like
he's developing that.
Yeah,
like he's doing.
How do you say tree in Japanese? And then your brain will just automatically know it, because
there'll be like a millisecond delay on like your thought process while your neural net accesses the internet, but like, I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things where like AI is either going to happen or it's not going to happen, but as soon as general AI happens, like it's ball game, like, because it's the exponential intelligent growth of something that never sleeps and can learn infinitely. The more they learn, the quicker they learn. So like an AI will be all basically godlike within like months of it coming online. And at that point, as long as it's a shackled, like controllable thing, no one needs to work anymore. We can get rid of violence. We can get rid of all the shit. We won't, but the possibility's there. And then it's just leisure time. And then you have to decide purpose and shit. But, or, it wipes us out. Like, it could kill us all. Like, we don't know anything, but it's not going to not happen. And it's like a symbiotic relationship, or it's going to be some sort of like, it's either our death or our birth. Like, it's one of the two things.
Yeah.
And but it might not happen. Maybe it's impossible. Maybe general AI is impossible. Maybe you can't create synthetic life, but probably can. I don't see a reason why not, unless like the soul's a real thing. So other than that, like, we can probably create intelligent life. We just got to figure it out. Or we already have, and this is a simulation. Like, it's just, there's just so much shit, dude. Like, it's just, I'm just along for the ride, and like,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Like, I just think I think everything would be a lot better if people were just like, I don't know, just like, don't be a dick. Like,
yeah, or one.
Yeah, just be nice to people. Like, that's all you got to do, and like, hopefully it works out. And if not, you're dead. So who cares?
That's what I'm saying.
For real.
I don't know, man. Ugh.
All right, we've been going for like an hour. You got any other topics or anything, Danny?
Not really, but I will add, you're a smart guy, dude.
Oh,
you're a
thank
smart guy with a lot going for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about anything. We talked about NBA a little bit. We could keep going on sports, music,
Yeah, dude.
philosophy, and
I
politics.
do enjoy my own voice a little bit. Like, yeah, like I don't know. I like talking, and I like talking to people who like have similar interests. Like, it seems like we may have like different hobbies, but we're all very passionate about things, which is important.
Yeah.
Like, you like talking to people who have like some sort of passion that they do, regardless of whether it's like beneficial career wise or financially. They just enjoy like the stimulation of it. Like, like, you would probably make this shit regardless if it was financially viable for you. You just might do it a little bit less.
For sure.
But like, just people who have some sort of like focus are a lot more interesting than people who just like meander through life with no like hobbies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hobbies are important. Like, I realize that with dating and stuff. You don't want to date somebody who you are their hobby.
Yeah.
You want to date somebody who's got their own life and want you around anyway. Not someone who needs you around because that's all they have.
That's a good point.
But you want that from your friends too.
Yeah.
Like you want your friends all to be a choice relationship that's beneficial to you, not something that's like a mutual crutch.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of that thing where it's like have 3 hobbies, like one to make you money, one to work on your creative side, and one to keep you active.
I haven't heard that, but like, okay, so one to keep you active, one to make money, and one to be creative.
Yeah.
What if your creative money are the same one?
You made it.
You made it. Keep doing it. I don't know. I listened to John Hill. He's a skateboarder YouTuber, and he actually put that quote on his YouTube last night.
Okay.
And I was just thinking about it, and I think he had mentioned it to me.
Yeah, I saw it on social media
before. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's
I just have. What do you think of quotes? I feel like quotes are the dumbest thing in the world. Like, no one's ever like, you know what, that changed my fucking life. I posted that, and I'm gonna live it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wishful thinking. It seems like.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, like the whole like I'm gonna put this quote somewhere. It's so odd to me. It's one I say that with quoted tattoos on myself.
Oh, no.
But like these are important to me. They're not like I'm not putting them anywhere. No, they're not like I don't know. I guess they do motivate me. I guess I'm a hypocrite. I don't know. But like, do you guys get what I mean with like
I
quotes?
get where you're coming from for sure. Yeah, it's kind of like statistics. Like you told me when I was in high school, you were like, my teacher in critical thinking told me like 99% of statistics are bullshit,
including this
one. Yeah, it's just like it's like come on now. But that tattoo here, what is it? What is that symbolizing? Because that's pretty cool.
These two are from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which there's a movie, but I really like the books, so I read the books like once a year. But they're these like weird, like dry British sci-fi novels of that, like they're really funny, but they're also like about like the pointlessness of life and like the randomness of the universe and whatever. And like this part of these 2 tattoos, they say, "Oh no, not again," and "Don't panic," and it's like there's a whole chapter in one of the books that references it, and then you get the punchline like way later in the series, and like so you don't understand the joke yet. When this, I don't know, they're just really interesting. But basically, these are about like just like the futility of control. Like there's you have no control over your life. Like you just are what you are, and things happen the way they happen, and you like I don't know. I'm like a half-assed determinist. Like I don't think I don't have free will, but I think my free will is I don't know. I haven't decided on determinism yet. I'm very confused by it. I don't know. Like I'm like yeah, that makes sense, but I also feel like I do make choices. But do I make choices because the kind of thing? So basically, that's what those are. And then
that's deep.
I like that.
I guess they're also really funny books. Like
True.
They're worth reading if you like I don't know, I'm trying to think. I think Star Wars meets The Office a little bit. Like it's just like they're funny and dry and weird, but they're also like really in depth like sci-fi novels. I don't know.
You fuck with Rick and Morty at all?
I do fuck with Rick and Morty. Prisoner of the Moment, but I would say it's the best adult animated series ever. Like I would say it is better than Family Guy or The Simpsons.
For sure.
It doesn't happen without either of them, but just quality wise.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's kind of like that where it's not only is it like super goofy and funny and just like make you bust out laughing because of just how weird and crazy the humor is, but it's like if you look at it, it's like it really makes you think a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm controlling myself not to get "Nobody Exists on Purpose" tattooed on my neck. Like I really want that tattooed here, but like that's aggressive.
We actually had on one of our first podcast episodes, me and him just talked about one of Rick's quotes. I don't remember it word for word, but it was basically him talking about love, and he was telling Morty, he's just like.
The chemical reaction.
Yeah, it's just a chemical reaction. Stick to science.
But as we were just like talking shit on quotes, but like, what's the one where Morty's talking to somewhere? He's like, "Get your shit together. I don't care what it is. Just get it together. Put it in a bag. Take it to the shit store and sell it, or give it away. I don't care. Just get it together." Like that whole rant he goes on to Summer. Like that shit's just—it's like so good.
Yeah, and I love that style of comedy. Like Justin Roiland is a genius with that sort of stuff. Like his voices and just like there's that show.
Dan Harmon's awesome. Like I was a big Community fan. I don't know if you watched Community.
I didn't.
Community. Oh, you gotta watch Community.
I saw it on Hulu today, and I was like, "Do I start it?"
It's great, and like it has Donald Glover in it, so like that's always great. And it's like him acting, which is fun. Like the thing with him is he's fucking doing so many things, and like. Dan Harmon, the Community's got a lot of Rick and Morty in it. Like it's where it's weird and goofy. So like I think you'd enjoy it. Like it's definitely worth the watch. And then like I don't know, there's still supposed to be a movie coming out that I'm waiting on, but like who knows if we'll actually get it.
Is it animation?
No. It's like a workplace comedy-esque shoot.
Is it up there with like The Office and Parks and Rec and those sort of shows?
But it's not shot like it's shot like a TV show, like a sitcom-y TV show, but it's got like the feel of an Office, Parks and Rec, but it's about a bunch of like a study group at a community college.
Oh, okay.
But then it just gets weird, and
I'm sure I'd be into it. I love all sorts of shows like that.
mm-hmm. And if you like Dan Harmon, like if you like Rick and Morty, you'll like Community, just because like it's the same humor.
Yeah, their brains together. That's why Rick and Morty is so awesome.
We're supposed to be getting regular season rotation soon, right? Like it's supposed to as soon as the next season comes out, which they haven't announced yet. But as soon as that one comes out, it's supposed to be regular rotation.
I think so. That's what I heard. But
I don't know. I mean, who fucking knows? How long have we waited between seasons? Like 4 years?
it's a long time between every season.
Yeah. It's like Frank Ocean. Like his albums. But it's worth it. That's the thing. Like you wouldn't tolerate a 3-year gap from Drake, but you would tolerate a 3-year gap from Frank Ocean because it was worth it. Yeah. Same thing with Rick and Morty. Like you wouldn't tolerate a 3-year Bob's Burgers gap. I'm sorry. I'm here to say fuck Bob's Burgers. All right?
I'm with you, bro. All the way.
You remember when that show first came out? Like, because we had our shows we watched as like kids or teenagers, like on that channel, and we'd have like Family Guy, The Simpsons, like our lineup.
Yeah,
and
then Sunday animation.
They cut out one of them for Bob's Burgers, and I was like, "What's this
Garbage."
show?" And I watched the first episode, and I was like, "Fuck this show!" And all my friends were like, "It's so funny," and I was just like, "No, fuck." And I never got into it.
That one and Adventure Time, they can both suck my dick. Like, I'm probably wrong here. They're probably both great, but I know.
See, I watch Adventure Time, but it's because I like the art style a lot.
The art's amazing, but like it's a kid's show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not high enough to watch that show all the time. Like I have stuff to do.
I think that show is overhyped. Like all the like adult people that swear by Adventure Time, I think is more of like a cult following type thing.
I would rather put it on when I'm tripping shrooms. And,
yeah, for sure.
On mute with music. Yeah, like I'd rather like I don't know. And again, I could be hating on something I don't understand at all. So
you. Before, I mean, this is another topic, but we've already been going a while. But anyways, you studied film, so is that something that, like, do you really love, like, TV shows and movies, and, like, you're super critical of that, like you are with music?
Yes.
So, let me ask you, because I feel like this year is a pretty big year for, like, nerdy entertainment, because Game of Thrones is coming to a close, Star Wars is coming to a close, and, in the MCU, the current saga MCU is coming to a close. Are you familiar with all those?
Okay.
You already said Game of Thrones, you're on the books.
Game of Thrones, I'm reading the books because I'm just not going to catch up on the TV show, and I have so much time to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
My nerddom does not delve super deep into Marvel and Star Wars. Like, I love the movies, but I don't know much about, like, the lore in the comic books. I really liked Endgame. I thought it could have been better. I thought there were some moments.
As far as, like, the technicalities of shooting it, or, like,
that and just, like, the writing. I was more into the writing. So, like, have you seen Endgame yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so the part...
Spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen Endgame.
Okay, yeah. I feel like it's been long enough. Like,
yeah, we're good.
Okay, yeah, you should have seen it by now. But the part where, like, all the women are just conveniently in the same part of the battlefield for, like, feminism, like, that was so heavy-handed. But then the racial stuff, when they transferred the shield to Falcon... That was, like, super well done. Like, it was like Black Panther. Like, Black Panther was amazing. It, like, had all this social commentary and all this stuff. But it was not, like, fuck you, fuck white people. Like, it was like, hey, this is what's happening. This is how it's happening. And we're going to do it in a subtle, intelligent way. Which is what they did with the handing the shield off. Mm-hmm. But with the... Why couldn't they have done that with the feminism stuff? They should have been able to do that. Yeah. But they just didn't seem to be... They just seemed lazy, right?
And my problem with that scene, I thought it right when I saw it. Because I was thinking... It's Captain Marvel. Like, it's cool that all y'all are there, like female power, all y'all are cool superheroes and stuff, but she doesn't need any of you.
No, and also, like, I audibly was like, ugh. And, like, because how are you all in the same part of the battlefield? Like, just right then.
Yeah.
And like, the power level shit. How, and was it in Infinity Wars where Thor almost beats Thanos by himself and Thanos has the power gauntlet, and then in Endgame, it takes Thor... Captain America and Iron Man with no Infinity Gauntlet to, like, kind of handle Thanos. Like, what the power levels are all weird, but then Captain Marvel out of nowhere can, like, fuck him up, but then not. Like,
I thought the same thing. She can blow up a spaceship in her movie and in Endgame. She blows up an entire spaceship like a Super Saiyan, but then when she's fighting hand-to-hand combat with Thanos, she's, like, going toe-to-toe with him.
Just,
she can blow him up.
Yeah, Thanos just seems like a big dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like without the Infinity Gauntlet, why is he so strong? I don't understand. Like, I know there's probably like some nerdy well, he's from Titan and he's genetically engineered and yada yada yada, but he wasn't that strong in the movie before, and he had the gauntlet with the Power Stone. But then now he doesn't have the
Just
gauntlet.
looks like he knew how to box because he fucked up Hulk pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they were saying, because I don't know anything about the comics or anything either. I actually right before Infinity War, I didn't watch any of those movies. I just caught up on all of them because I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
So like I'm not super well versed, but they were saying throughout the movie that he, even without the Infinity Gauntlet, he's one of the strongest in the universe. And I was like, why?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I feel like Marvel. My biggest issue with like all these, there's too much going on, and Marvel contradicts himself. So like, supposedly, the Hulk was supposed to be the most powerful person in the entire MCU because he can get infinitely stronger. But then there's an argument that the Flash is the strongest person in Marvel because force equals mass times acceleration, and he can accelerate infinitely. So he's got his mass, but he can always get faster. There's no limit to his speed. So he technically would be the strongest person alive in the entire universe because there's no limit to how fast he can go.
Yeah.
So he's always that's exponential growth on it. So like, why didn't they just bring the Flash in? Where's the Flash at?
Is DC, though.
Oh, is he DC? I'm sorry. See, this is my problem. I'm not nerdy. Like, I'm nerdy in my own ways. But like,
I get what you're saying though. Like, there's a lot of those weird power. Like, I always thought with the Avengers in general.
is DC? Jesus.
Like the Avengers in general, there's Thor, who is, I think, we discussed this, undoubtedly the strongest Avenger. He's a god. He's a god of thunder.
Hulk, because Hulk can get infinitely stronger by the science of the MCU. Like, he can infinitely increase his power.
Oh.
So it should be Hulk. All right, can we take a pause? I have to pee so bad, but
Yeah. Let's take a pause.
Okay.
The City of Palms podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show onto all the apps people use? How do I make money from the podcast? And the answer to all this is really simple: Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Me and Danny searched all over the internet for different outlets for distributing and recording and for websites that would host our podcast. And a lot of them, you have to pay money or it's really complicated, and especially for someone just starting out. And Anchor really was an answer to all that because you can record straight on Anchor. It's very user-friendly and it's totally free. We don't have to pay a penny to use this. And so it's great for anyone who's wanting to start out. And so if you're wanting to start your own podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
But yeah, no, I just I'm not I like all the Marvel movies, but I have a problem with the medium. It's I really like anime, but I can't get into manga. Same way I really like the comic book stuff, but I can't get into comics because I don't enjoy the graphic novelization stuff. I want a book or I want a movie. I wish I could enjoy it, but I do not enjoy graphic novels in any way.
Oh, I see.
So I've never been able to get into comics, really delve into them, or really into manga because I don't enjoy the medium very well.
Yeah, I understand that. See, my thing, it's sort of like how we were talking about audiobooks compared to books or TV shows. Because with me, there's a handful of things that I've read because I don't have the time to like certain anime. They're so fucking long. I don't have the time to
One Piece.
Yeah, and there's so many
so much filler.
Yeah, so I'll just read it because I can brush through a manga issue in 30 minutes. So I can just I did that with Naruto. That back half of Naruto, I just read it all because I didn't have time to watch 200 more episodes.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I wish I could do that, but I don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
So, why kill my enjoyment with something I love?
Yeah, I can see that.
So I mean, I've taken a huge break from One Piece, but I'll go back to One Piece in a little while at some point. But I think I stopped at episode 500 something. But they're on 900 now.
I know, they're breaking 1,000.
I'm that's great, but I need a filler list, and that's one of the ones with a decent dub, so you can watch it dubbed, so you gotta wait for it, because I like to multitask, so I like to be doing a couple things.
Yeah,
so
me too.
If I can find a good dub, then I like it, but typically dubs are garbage. But if you can find a good one, One Piece is pretty decent. So then I wait for the dubs on that, and I don't know. I don't know. The worst one ever is it Soul Eater? I was okay, the dub's pretty good, but Black Star's terrible. Let me watch it subbed. Nope, still terrible. Black Star's voice in the sub and the dub, just garbage.
See, from my experience, because I prefer, because I haven't watched a whole bunch of anime, but Dragon Ball Z is our big thing. We always grew up on that, obviously, in the English dub. So anytime I would watch the Japanese sub, the voices were just way too crazy for me, and because they don't sound anything like they sound in English, because Goku's got like a deep badass voice, and then in Japanese I think he's might be played by a woman if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and you gotta start it like with the new anime you're not familiar with.
Yeah, and so like with Naruto, I started it in the Japanese, and I liked the voice. I noticed I started like the first season of Naruto in Japanese, and then I went to try to listen to the dub because they added it to Netflix or something, and I didn't like the voices at all. I thought that like in Japanese that's how the character should sound, and then in English it's like, oh, he just sounds like a dumbass little kid or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked Naruto's Naruto. I liked his dub better than the sub, but like Kakashi, I liked the sub better than the dub. Like it was by the character.
Yeah, and from my experience, it's just whichever one I start with. Like with Dragon Ball Super, the new season or new series, I started it because it wasn't available dubbed yet. I started it in Japanese, and then when I went, obviously I've been so used to Dragon Ball Z dub that I could easily go back. But like, I still finished it. Yeah, I finished it in Japanese just because I was like so used to all those voices and whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird. Like I don't know. If I can get a good dub, I'll take it.
Yeah,
like, I prefer it because then I don't have to read the whole time, and I can really pay attention to the art and stuff. But I think because the thing with like the sub is you gotta watch it twice. Because then you know what's going on, and like you miss stuff because you're reading, and
you can't multitask. I'm all about like watching something while I'm like doing something else.
I just get fidgety. Like I need to do something with my hands. Like I can't just like sit and watch. Like I have very high energy. If you haven't noticed, like I like need to do something while I'm doing whatever. But I don't know. So you don't watch too much anime other than DBZ and Naruto?
No, there's a handful, but I've got a list of things that I need to just brush through, like that aren't that long. Like,
Tokyo Ghoul. Solid. Psycho Pass is solid. Death Note is amazing.
I feel like I'd like Death Note a lot.
Death Note's super dope.
How long is that?
It's 40 episodes, and there's no filler.
What? See, it's funny that we ended Sling's episode talking about anime that we need to watch, and now we're into this one.
What did he tell? What did he recommend?
He said Hunter x Hunter is
that's my favorite one.
And he said, how long is that one?
That's probably like 4 seasons.
Oh, I guess I can still get it.
But there's no filler.
Nice.
It's just.
We really like My Hero Academia because it's only three seasons
so far.
Yeah, and no filler, right? Like it was basically. Huh?
Was there?
There was a little bit.
I've only watched season 1, so I haven't watched.
But 2. For the most part, it's pretty. It's not like Naruto where you'll have like every other episode.
One Piece is the worst.
Yeah.
The worst about the filler, and it's such a good anime, which is why it's so annoying. Like One Piece is awesome, except for the fact that it's got 900 episodes and 300 of them are filler, and like they have whole filler arcs. They don't have like filler episodes. They have filler arcs.
That's kind of how Naruto is too. They'll have like a whole 7-episode little arc where
I'm talking like 30 episode arcs.
What?
Yeah, like just not
whole season. That's just doesn't pertain to the.
It's just like lore shit. It's just like background stuff. Like
and it's such a shame because I feel like I know I would love that anime a lot. I've never started it ever, but like just the look of it and like the pirates, and I would love it.
Pull up the filler list, just the Wikipedia filler list, and just skip those episodes. I think that's the way to do it because that's how I do it when I watch it. I don't know. My favorite animes though are like, I think if I was a manga person, I would hate it, but I really like Tokyo Ghoul. I thought it was awesome. Hunter x Hunter is like my favorite. Knights of Sidonia is really solid. It's like the only mech one I like. It's a Netflix original one. Seven Deadly Sins is dope. Fairy Tail is kind of in and out. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff. It's just depends on what I'm in the mood for. And I haven't been in an anime mood in a long time. Like I've been doing mostly like watching much honestly recently.
That's kind of how I'm at too. Like I've just been, especially starting this podcast. Like I've just been doing a whole bunch of stuff, and like if I do get a chance to watch a show, I'll just like pop up some like easy watch and nothing that I have to like really pay attention to, like
some Office and Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I'll just pop on The Office, rewatch it for the 3rd time.
You should do Community, seriously.
I know I'd love it. I just got Hulu today, so I should start it.
Oh, dude, Hulu, like I have it through Sprint and it's super nice.
Yeah, I got Spotify just messaged me today and said like, hey, with your Spotify premium plan, you can actually get Hulu with it for free. And I was like,
I'm the only person who doesn't use Spotify on the planet. Like, the only one. Yeah, I
fucking love Spotify. He uses Apple. Yeah.
I use YouTube Red and Apple Podcasts. Like I have YouTube Red because I listen to beats all day. So like, if I'm gonna spend money on one of these streaming services, it's gonna be YouTube Red. I can get most of the music there, and I just can't like do playlists the same way. But I can make my own playlist, which I typically do anyway.
Yeah. I think I like Spotify because it's just like simple and user friendly. But I don't like how I feel like I would like YouTube better for the fact of like so many mixtapes that I love that aren't available on Spotify, which you can get on YouTube all day.
Do you remember when Hot New Hip Hop was actually awesome?
I do. Yeah.
And now it's just garbage.
Now it's so trash. Yeah, that used to be like where you go, dude.
Dude, I used
for
to
new
find.
heat.
Remember LimeWire?
Yeah.
Like the days of LimeWire. Okay, I used to have like 60,000 songs, and
Wow.
like half of them were from LimeWire, and the other half were from Hot New Hip Hop. And just like a lot of it was garbage. I would just download every mixtape that came out, and then listen to a little bit of it. If I liked it, I listened to the whole thing, and then if I didn't like it, I would listen to it. But like, I burnt my sister a bunch of CDs back in the day when people did that, and like she's got this old CD case, and there's a bunch of them that like these weird obscure rappers like never made it. That just like put a couple mixtapes up on Hot New Hip Hop and then disappeared. Super funny.
That is funny.
No.
Wow.
You guys ever listen to something that you thought it was really good at the time, and it's been like 5 years, and then you listen to it, and you're like, oh god, this is terrible. Why did I like this at all?
Yeah. In all sorts of genres. Like with me, because I just recently started getting into hip hop like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
It hasn't been like my whole thing, but like with a bunch of rock, there's stuff that I used to love that I listen to now, and I'm just like, oh lord.
Like, what kind of rock was the original? Like, before you got into hip hop, what were you listening to?
Well, I listened to a lot of what was my favorite bands before? Like, I think it's the bands that have been my favorite. Like, my favorite band is Ghost, if you heard of Ghost. I'm not into, like, super heavy, like deathcore metal type stuff. I like more, like, sing-songy. Like, I really like All That Remains, if you've heard of them.
No, see, I've avoided metal genre altogether because of that deathcore stuff. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
No words. I can't even tell if you're playing the guitar or not. Like, I don't.
Yeah, see, like, I felt bad because, like, Jake started his band, and he was showing me, like, one of the first things they recorded, and I tell him every time he shows me one of these bands that he loves that I'm like, I don't like vocals like that. The music is good. I dig, like, the drumming and all that, but I just don't like those vocals. I can't tell what he's saying. Like, it's just not for me. I understand that you're into it, and that's cool, but it's just, I don't like it.
I feel like you have to be very angry to like that kind of music.
And that's how it is. Like, I notice when I listen to, like, metal like that, there's certain groups that they have music for all sorts of different moods.
Yeah.
But with a lot of my metal, it's like when I'm like skating or like I'm really trying like working out or something, like that's when I'm listening to like heavy stuff, because it like there's hip hop that can do that to me too. But like for the most part, hip hop is when I'm just like chilling. And
Skating's so weird. Like the genres that skaters gravitate towards, it's hip hop, like the metal stuff, and then it's like that weird like all the music that was on like Tony Hawk Underground, like all that like
those, Dead Kennedys.
Yeah, like that punk shit
Yeah,
and like
it's crazy
like
how
weird ska stuff.
Yeah, and you don't. I didn't realize it until I started delving into hip hop how influential it is on the skateboarding community.
I don't
Because
think it used to be though. I think it like was in the late '90s, early 2000s that it like became a thing. I don't think it was always part of the scene. Because I think it was mostly white kids skating at first, and like in the '90s, like white and black was still super separate as far as like the cultural stuff, like what kind of music you listened to and like the activities you participated in, like. Still super separate up until I don't know. I feel like the 2000s it was like really started mixing in.
Yeah, and then like you said, Tony Hawk soundtrack did a number on skate videos and what people listen to and all that stuff. Like, but it's crazy, like all the people that I'll get into now, and then I'll realize that they had songs like Nas. Like whenever there's songs whenever I started delving into him. There were songs I'm like, I know this song. How the fuck do I know this song? And it's because it's from Tony Hawk games. They have his whole Illmatic album like throughout the games, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know that.
Sorry,
it's getting toasty in here.
Yeah, because you had to turn that off for the sound.
Yeah, it gets really, really loud. Man.
I have no idea. Yeah, can't help you there. You could put like a fan out there with a bucket of ice, just like blow cold air in here.
Yeah, that could work.
Oh, are you serious? I was kind of joking, but like...
no, I've been wanting to
worked
put
in
a
restaurants and that works. That's what we had to do in the hot kitchens.
Really?
Hell yeah.
No, but I've been wanting to put a fan, like at least like I don't know how it'll affect the sound, but put a fan like in that doorway and just to like kind of like get air circulating.
Because you could hang a fan in here because those fans are way quieter and it would get the air moving.
Yeah, that's true.
Like ceiling fans are quiet.
For real.
They don't make a lot of noise, but you don't move the air around because you got to turn that thing off. I'm sure.
All right, you got anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up? Going for an hour and a half, almost.
I guess real quick, I will dabble into this. I didn't want to, but I haven't yet, so I will.
Okay.
Lil Nas X. I'm sure you've heard that song, Old Town Road.
Yes.
And so I don't know if you're aware. You probably are. But right when it came out, skyrocketed country charts.
Yeah.
It was everywhere in country.
Yeah.
Then the industry took it down. They said, nah, it's not country enough. It doesn't appeal to the country audience we want. And then he remixed it with Billy Ray, came out with it, and was like, now is it country, and now it's top charts in the country playlist again. And now he's doing
rock,
it's rumored that I think rock, and he's doing one with Young Thug to say, if y'all want rap, I'll show you what a rap one sounds like.
Yeah.
Have you heard?
I like that he's playing around, and like, okay, that's what I'll say. It is the best version of country hip hop that I have heard yet. Does not mean it's good. It is the best progression of that terrible garbage hip hop genre. That being said, do I think the country billboards took him down for the right reasons? No. Do I think there was valid reasons to take him off the country charts? Yes, because that is not a country song. That is a rap song with a country sample. And that is a very different thing. If you're going to make country-influenced hip-hop or country-sampled hip-hop, those are very, very, very different things. So I don't really think it's a country song. I think it's a hip-hop song with a country sample because hip-hop's built on sampling. So, like, boom-bap hip-hop is usually jazz samples or, like, piano samples and then, like, all that Lil Peep stuff. Lil Peep's music's not alt-rock. It is hip-hop with alt-rock samples. So if Lil Peep was on the alt-rock genre and they took him off because there's not enough alt-rock, like, yeah, it's not. It's hip-hop with alt-rock samples because hip-hop is sampling. So if you're going to make a country rap song, then it legitimately needs to be a country song. Like, it needs to, the drum patterning, and it's got to be more than just a sample.
I feel you.
Right?
Yeah.
So adding Billy Ray helped, but, like, if Billy Ray put out a song and Lil Nas X rapped on it, that doesn't make it a rap song now. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's like what's that song? Like the boys around here always are like that shit. Like there's like a rap feature in that somewhere.
Yeah, Drake I think features it. In one of his songs. In the intro to what was that?
Oh, it's some Blake Shelton song where there's like a rap part to it, and like.
God, okay, I'm thinking of something else.
But regardless, like it didn't make it a rap song. It just made it a country song with a rapper on it. Like it's just a rap song with a country sample, as far as I hear, because it's got trap drums and it's got like there was not much blending there. It was more like I'm trying to think of how to describe it. That was a collage instead of like a mix. Like it's more like a salad instead of a soup, if that makes sense. Like the ingredients are mixed; they're just thrown in together and mixed up to make something nice. Like it's not terrible. It's catchy. And it's country-ish, but I just don't think it's a country song.
No, I feel you. Yeah, I'm glad we touched on that because I haven't even heard that opinion yet from like the people I've talked to. But no, that's a good one.
Well, yeah, because everybody's dude like racist or it's not country, and like yes and yes. Like, do I think Nashville's really excited about the black community moving into country music? No, they are not excited about that. They barely tolerate Darius Rucker. Hootie. But do I think that Lil Nas X is a country artist? No. Do I think it's gimmicky? Yeah. I mean, it's
for sure. Yeah.
Dude got his bag.
Hmm?
Got his bag.
Yeah, no. Like I said earlier, go get your money. If they're gonna pay you, go get it.
Right.
But also, like, those people aren't making as much money as you think they are. Like, Lil Pump does not have as much money as you think he does. Lil Nas X does not have as much money as you think he does. Because streaming numbers are so bad, and because labels give advances, and then you have to pay the label back. So, and then they blow their money on stupid shit. Like, Tech Nine's making just as much money, if not more, than almost anybody in hip-hop. But you don't think about it that way, because Tech Nine's, like, underground and not mainstream. He's never on the radio, but he owns all his shit. So he gets all his merch, all his shows, all his streaming. And these artists are on, like, 360 deals with labels where they have to give a cut of their show, a cut of their merch, a cut of their music, a cut of their videos, a cut of their streaming, a cut of, like, appearance fees, everything. They got to give a cut to the label. And typically labels give advances. So, like, they'll give, like, a $1.7 million deal to somebody. But you have $1.7 million to make your album. And then you profit after they get their money back. So, like, it's a weird setup. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about I just don't think, I think the label system needs to change how we do things.
Yeah, true that. Do you think, I think this is definitely a thing, but, like, it seems like a lot of, not only musicians, but just, like, media entities in general have been, like, I mean, people do this throughout history, but, like, using that whole any publicity is good publicity to, like people say that about, Kanye, how, like, all the crazy stuff he does, it gets his name in the headlines, and it gets people to look at his album when it drops, and it gets people to look at his music, and it gets him to, like shoot up, no matter whether it's them saying like, "Oh, he's such a crazy guy. Why do you say that crazy stuff?" But like, it's still bringing him attention. Do you? One thing. This is very, very off topic of hip hop, but the Sonic trailer. Did you guys see it?
I have not seen it. I heard it sucked.
Oh my god! So it was bad.
Why are we making that live action?
That's my same question.
Money grubbing. It's gonna. Know what's gonna be like? It's gonna be like that Adam Sandler movie with the Pac-Man shit. Where like
yeah.
This is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be visually cool, and little kids are gonna like it.
But see, my thing with that, because it's been blown up all over the internet because Sonic looks absolutely horrible. Like, I don't know if the movie itself, like the plot will be bad or whatever.
Does
I don't
he
know.
look worse than Will Smith Genie?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Because, like, he's way too humanistic. Like, they made him look like a human with, like, it's just hard to explain. But I heard a good theory that I think is probably true. Because I heard that with all the blow up, because it's, like, become a meme now. Everyone's, like, saying that they need to redo Sonic and, like, redesign him. And the company came out and said that they are, before they release the movie, they're going to reanimate him so that he looks more like the animated Sonic rather than this humanistic, weird, creepy Sonic.
Yeah.
And I heard, and I think this is probably true, that they already had two versions. Like, they already had the movie edited with how he's supposed to look, and they made that trailer with the shitty looking one to make everybody talk about it. I don't know if a company would do that, but that makes sense because it is blowing up all over headlines, or maybe not headlines.
Yeah, but are you gonna go see it? Because I'm not.
I'm not.
So like we can talk about it all you want, but are you gonna see it?
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna change people's.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
That's like Detective Pikachu. I'm probably not gonna see that. Yeah, like I'm worried it's gonna like ruin my childhood. The only Pokemon that talks is Meowth. Everybody else and Slowking. Everybody else, no voices. Why is Pikachu talking? Why is it Ryan Reynolds?
Right. Like,
I do want to touch on that Kanye thing real quick though.
Yeah.
And then first of all, I love Kanye. Kanye. Oh God, I love Kanye. He's so amazing. Kanye is a real insane person. Does he use his insanity to his advantage? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's a real insane person. Just like every creative genius ever has been. Just like Walt Whitman and Beethoven and Edgar Allan Poe and Da Vinci and all of these people that like we're like, oh, the greatest creatives ever. They're so like quirky and weird and Picasso cut his ear off, and Kanye is that. He's just alive now, right?
And there's social media, so everyone's like,
be glad he's not Beethoven and he's not a drunk that beats his children. Be glad he's not Edgar Allan Poe and he's not an opium addict. He's just a weirdo that cuts a maze into his hair and yells at Taylor Swift. Like, it could be so much worse, and he's so important to the history of music and the history of art as a whole. Like, we will talk about Kanye. I believe this to my core. We will talk about Kanye the way we talk about Beethoven. Like, we just will. He will be that important to his kind of music.
I agree.
He's that important to hip-hop. So in the history and the annals of hip-hop, Kanye will be one of the 10 most important figures in the genre's history. 300 years from now. Like, Kanye will be in books about like music theory. Because Kanye can put out an album, and even if you don't like it, your favorite rapper liked it, and his shit's gonna sound like that now, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get Travis Scott without Yeezus. Like you just don't get what Travis Scott is. You don't get all the Astroworld shit without Yeezus. Like he's just not. Travis Scott is Kid Cudi and Kanye having a baby, and then they water it down for mainstream appeal. Like that is what Travis Scott is. And Travis Scott's really good. He's just not Kid Cudi or Kanye because those are both generational geniuses, and Travis Scott is the like boxed version of that. Even though he's really good, he's just not. Like you'll forget about Travis Scott in 50 years. You will not forget about Kid Cudi or Kanye. Mm-hmm. People don't talk about him the right way. I just like, yes, he's an insane person. Of course, he was supporting Trump. If I told you after Trump got elected, hey, 2 years from now, Kanye's going to do some dumb shit and it's going to be politics. Of course, he was wearing a MAGA hat. Like, of course. I don't know why anyone is surprised by anything he does.
For sure.
Like, stop giving him attention. No, stop doing some of these things. Like, it's just dumb.
Do you think any of it's calculated, though? Like,
yeah. I think he's got smart people around him, and I think he's a genius. He's also insane. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, he is crazy, but he also uses his crazy to his advantage. So, like, he will do some crazy shit around an album, but he'll also, like, do some crazy shit not around an album.
Yeah, just because...
Like he's always doing crazy shit, so it's gonna line up with the albums eventually. Like he does something kind of weird at least once a month, right? At least. So of course it's gonna line up with this stuff. So is it calculated? Maybe. Is it not? Who cares? Because it's happening all the time. Because that's just who he is. He's just a psycho.
Yeah, he ain't hurting anybody.
Yeah, but he seems like a solid dad and a decent husband. who makes amazing music and like Kanye's not like a rap beef guy. He's like, oh, that hurt my feelings. Like, like he's not violent. Like he's just Kanye. He's a weird enigma that's like just changed hip hop music. So like, just let him be Kanye. Just leave him alone. That's all. People need to be nice to Kanye. He's gonna kill himself. All my favorite rappers are already dead. I don't need Kanye gone too.
For sure.
Well said, dude. Keep Kanye on the planet.
That's what you really want to get rid of Kanye. Like, would anyone be happy? Would anyone be happier without Kanye around? Because I don't think so. If anything, he's good entertainment.
Yeah. Like I said, he's not hurting anybody.
No.
He's just being crazy.
Yes. He's being an insane person.
Sometimes the craziest people are the best people.
All the best people are crazy. Just run through the list of history. Who are the people we talk about? They're all crazy fucking people. No normal guy Tim is like not ever someone you talk about after he died.
He went to work every day and then he died. That was Tim in the history book.
Tim was so nice. He never did anything interesting. Okay. Like, why do you want normal people? Normal people are boring. And they're not normal. They're just boring. No one's normal. Like, normal to you is not normal to everybody else.
Yep.
That's facts, dude.
All right.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I'm getting awfully toasty in here. All right. This has been episode 9 with Kacey Parks. Do you have any, like, obviously Kava culture, but do you have any, like, local businesses or whatever you want to shout out for the listeners to stop by, eateries or anything like that?
Kava Thursdays, obviously. I don't know about businesses. I could shout out some artists real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Right.
Music-wise, Ivan the Hippie, Lutz, June, Hellboy Ducati, Sling, Slight, Wonder, Chris Cadlin, Last Minute Customer, Jenna, the original Drug Child, and I'm missing like a bunch of people I'm sure are amazing. Photography-wise, Authentic Perspective, Jams, both awesome. Art-wise, Shred Grip, obviously. Guy Hill and Creations, if you need crystals, you're into all that kind of shit. Darb Neal Art's awesome. Like, just the whole community is super dope. So if you need something done in Southwest Florida, like you're looking for art, like you don't need to look outside of Southwest Florida. You can find it down here.
And your Instagram is Kacey_Parks, right?
Yes, it is. KACEY_Parks. PARKS.
And his list is very, very hefty. I knew he'd have a lot of shout outs, and he's constantly on his Instagram shouting people out and giving people light that they deserve. So definitely check him out on Instagram because his story is always full of love like that for the people that deserve it.
X and VIX. Yes, them.
Of course.
Yano and Strack and Toke and March and Rip. Yeah, so.
Yup, and then a lot of the people on that list we already have lined up to be on the podcast, so stay tuned for that. Listeners, do you have anything you want to say before we wrap it up, Danny?
No, thank you for coming out, dude. It was great.
Hell yeah.
I knew this was going to be a good episode. I knew from the get-go. That's why you were the first person I hit up.
Because I can't shut the fuck up in real life.
And then right after I asked you, too, I was like, hey, starting a podcast, it'd be cool if you could get on and come chat with us. You gave me, like, right there 20 other names. You're like, yo, that dude would be cool, that dude would be cool, that dude would be cool.
Yeah. City Palms, bitch.
You heard it. All right, this has been episode 9. Thanks again for anyone. We're still starting out, so if you're listening at this very beginning stage, we really, really appreciate it. Remember to, if you're on social media, like this, share it, comment, share it with your friends, stream it on whatever platforms you dig, and just keep the support coming because we're going to keep rolling no matter what. All right, hit him with that outro, Biscuit.